2022 World Games in Birmingham, Alabama.
Is that a braid from him here?
What?
Is that a braid in his hair?
Yeah, that's some of the, depending on the tribe, it may be tradition to not cut one's hair. And so they grow it long and braid it up. Okay. And back in the late 1800s, when the US government was trying to, from their perspective, they were trying to civilize certain Native American reservations. From other perspectives, it was kind of a make them more white. They would take Native American children and cut off the hair to kind of separate them from the Native American culture and make them more like the picturesque Americans. Okay. But I just thought that was interesting that on the way into work this morning, after we just finished talking about lacrosse and the Iroquois as part of chapter 2, this program plays over the radio about the Iroquois League. And what did y'all catch which state they were in? That's where the tournament was taking place.
Ireland?
No, that's the country that dropped out of the competition so that the Iroquois could play.
Georgia. No. Mississippi.
Where were the Iroquois? Where do they live?
They live in Arizona.
New Mexico.
Other
New
New
York.
New York.
Oh, yeah.
I was born in New York.
The Iroquois tribe originally is in the New York area. Well, this Iroquois team is from New York.
New York.
Okay. All right. So let's talk going into chapter 3. The big question for chapter 3 is why. So what's the name of chapter 3? The title is Exploring the Americas. So the big question we have to figure out for this chapter is why. Why did Europeans start exploring? Okay. We've got to look for the motivation. Okay. So,
Money.
all right. So lesson 1, we're talking about how the world is changing. Okay. So we go all the way back. Okay, let's think back in Jesus' time. What empire controlled Europe? Rome. And they would control Europe for a long time. Then Rome fell. And so what happens in a world where you have a big power and then that power collapses, what do we call that?
A power gap?
A what?
Power gap? Or is that like in one kingdom?
Maybe in one kingdom. We tend to call it a power vacuum. The world, there's a void of power right there. And so when that happened, all the European people kind of went in, kind of like a turtle in its shell, or a hermit crab. And it just became isolated from the rest of the world. Okay, they focused on, and what do we call that period what do we call this period in Europe? It was the blank ages.
The Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages.
Oh.
Yeah, we medieval, yeah, but it was all the Dark Ages. Where, how many of y'all have seen Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail?
Ooh,
Yes.
Crusades. I love talking about Crusades.
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute. But it was kind of like that, bring out your dead, ching,
Oh, no.
That's a really good movie.
ching type deal. Yeah. But, John, what started in the late thousands that ended European isolation? The Crusades.
Oh, right.
So what was the only part of the Roman Empire to have survived the Roman collapse?
Oh, the church.
The church. Because by the time Rome collapsed, the Roman Empire, which started off persecuting Christians,
Now we're Christian.
became Christians. And the Roman Empire started, what do we call this denomination of Christianity?
Oh, the Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church. Okay, so the Roman Catholic Church is the only thing to survive the Roman Empire.
And then it later became
and it controls pretty much like all of the kingdoms in Europe kind of look to the Roman Catholic Church for guidance. Okay, so Rome looks over to the Middle East and sees the Holy Land, the land that the three main religions in the world point to as being holy, which is what? What land is that?
Israel.
The land that is currently Israel. Okay, it wasn't always Israel, right?
Jerusalem.
Right? Anyone know when the modern state of Israel was created?
A few decades ago.
Yeah, at the end of the 1940s. Why?
Because Muslim.
Yeah. What happened in the 1940s?
World War
Why?
II. Because World War
No, well, okay. But what was the main atrocity to happen during World War II?
I. Oh, Jews! They hated Jews.
Well,
Yes, look at how you phrase that in the future. Right? The main atrocity, though, was the
Holocaust.
Holocaust. The systematic destruction and extinction of the Jews that Hitler tried to carry out. His final order, as Germany was losing, the final order was essentially start up the gas chambers, start up the furnaces, and just killing every Jew that they had in their concentration camp. Oh yeah. Burned them alive, gassed them, starved them.
oh, they starved everybody.
Yeah, anyone in their concentration camps. Okay, but the purpose was to exterminate the Jews from the world.
Also, they would have everybody turn.
Why? Because Hitler was trying to create this master Aryan race, and the Jews were a convenient political scapegoat for Hitler in his rise to power, because Germany was in a depression as a result of World War I, and the outcome of World War I, and it just so happened that a lot of the bankers in Germany were Jewish, and so as Hitler is rising to power and he's talking about the economic depression that's going on, he points to the Jews as the power brokers and says, the reason you're suffering is because of them. And so it's a systematic wiping out. Do y'all remember Charlottesville? What happened in Charlottesville?
Oh, the black people and like they destroyed the town?
No. There was the white supremacist group that marched on Charlottesville. They were carrying tiki torches and marching. Okay, they were essentially a group of modern day Nazis. Do y'all remember what they were yelling, what they were chanting?
Soil and mud.
The Jews will not replace us.
Oh.
Oh,
That happened 2017.
really?
Oh, that's alright.
They still have Nazis?
Yeah, we still have Nazis.
Oh.
I didn't hear about that.
I didn't know.
Yeah. And people like that didn't even hear about
Let me, no. But it's essentially this group here that, they can be seen carrying, it's weird, they can carry Confederate flags as well as Nazi flags, and they're marching with these tiki torches, and one of the things that they're yelling is, the Jews will not replace us.
Replace them with what?
That's terrible.
The Jews will not replace us. So they're saying it's very anti-Semitic. right? But we kind of got on this because talking about the Middle East, the state of Israel was created in the late 1940s as a result of the Holocaust. And the idea was if we give the Jewish people a place to be their own country, that their future will be more secured. Okay? Because the feeling has been that throughout history, the Jews have been picked on as a people, been taken into slavery, brought out, taken back in, brought out. Okay. So, but that Middle East area was, at the time, back here in the early thousands, was controlled by which of the three main religions?
Those.
Muslim, right? It was under Islamic control. And the Pope in Rome said to all the European countries, hey guys, let's not let the Muslims take Jerusalem, which the Muslims also say Jerusalem's a holy city for them, right? Jerusalem's a holy city for Christians, Jewish, and Islam, right? But the Muslims had control over Jerusalem, and the Pope goes, we can't allow this. So let's get together, organize an army, and take it back. And so over a period of hundreds of years, there were several campaigns to try to take back Jerusalem. Thousands, tens of thousands of people died in this conflict. But it was to try to put Jerusalem back under Christian control. Okay? But after the Crusades all finished up, and the last Crusade was finished, what happened? What did some of the surviving Crusaders bring back to Europe? Not money.
Cool stuff.
Cool stuff like what?
Like silk.
Silk. Spices. Right? Some parts of Europe are known for having pretty bland food. Okay? So now you have Crusaders coming back and bringing out spices, and now people in Europe are going, man, this is awesome. Man, this tea is great. Do you think they want more?
Yes.
Yeah. So as a result of the Crusades, trade started happening between Europe and the Middle East. Okay? And specifically the Far East, China and India. Who helped open up China to trade? Y'all say his name in the pool.
Oh,
Marco.
Marco Polo.
I was gonna say.
Okay? He was an Italian who saw a business opportunity and said, hey, if I can get access, if I can open up trade with China and gain access to all their tea and spices and silk, I can make a fortune because people in Europe will buy. Yes.
I didn't even know Marco Polo was a person.
Yeah. Yeah. He was.
Oh, that's who made Polo, right?
Oh,
I thought it was just a game.
Oh no, that's
No,
Ralph.
that's
That's Ralph.
that's separate.
My fault.
All right. So at first, how do you think people traded? Did they trade by land or by sea?
Sea,
land,
oh wait, land at first.
At first, land. Why?
Because they didn't know.
Is the sea unpredictable?
Yes.
And back in the early, 1200s, did they have the best ships?
No.
No. So if you have a small ship going down a large, in the sea, and a large wave comes over,
You did.
There goes the stuff.
there goes all the stuff, right? People, yeah. But the stuff, there goes all the stuff. Okay? But, so they had to trade by land. That was just, they had to. They had no other choice, okay? But if you're trading by land, and let's kind of look at the map. That's why I had it pulled up here. If you're trading by land, and you're going from Italy, like Pisa, Venice, these countries in Italy, city-states in Italy, and you're going to go by sea a little bit, but to get to trade with China, who do you have to go through?
The Middle East.
You got to go through the Middle East. Okay? And so the Middle Eastern merchants, some of them would go over here and they would kind of like meet here in the middle. So what do we call these merchants in the middle?
The middle.
The middlemen. Okay, they've got to make a profit too, right? So do you think that they charge the European merchants the same price that they paid? Or do they increase the price?
Oh, increase.
They increase the price. So Europe is having to pay more. Right? So it's this idea that they're having to pay more, they're having to go through. And does this give the Middle Eastern merchants a lot of power?
Yes.
Absolutely. So they kind of have a monopoly. Y'all played the game Monopoly, right?
Yes, I love it.
When you are winning and you have all the power, can you charge pretty much whatever you want?
Oh, yes. Especially if you want to make a trade.
Yeah. If you want to make a trade,
If somebody really, really wants it, then they'll pretty much do anything.
right, because you're the only option in town, right?
Yeah.
So with these guys being the only option in town, they upcharged the Europeans, a lot. And so it's this motivation that the Europeans have of getting the access to this trade cheaper that starts them to explore, right? The other thing that's going on behind the scenes, it's not just goods that are being traded between cultures. Technology is also being traded. And so this technology and these new ideas are really starting to get things rolling in Europe. And now what do we call this period in Europe?
Renaissance.
The Renaissance. How many of you are going to the Renaissance Fair?
Maybe. I've gone 3 times.
I'm surprised that it's still on for this year.
I've gone 3 times.
But yeah, it's the Renaissance in Europe. Okay? And so as the Renaissance and trade is growing, the church is kind of losing some power, and what's growing in power? Countries, monarchies. Okay, they're growing in power. Well, specifically at this point, Spain and Portugal are really growing in power at this point, and Italy. Okay. Then we also had something else that developed that helped spread information. What helped spread information? What do you think helped?
Rumors.
A letter.
A letter that can be reproduced.
Printing
Into
press.
the news.
The printing press.
Oh.
The printing press was invented, right? And as a result, now these books, like Marco Polo's Adventures, could be shared with others. Now, how many of y'all have like read a book or watched a movie and then afterwards you're like really excited about whatever the subject matter was?
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the movie The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
No.
No. Okay, it's a Ben Stiller movie, but it's the movie that inspired myself and Coach Chavez to go to Iceland for 2 weeks, and we backpacked around.
Iceland?
Yeah,
Was it fun?
yeah,
I want to go to Switzerland.
it's pretty fun. It was very scary at some points.
Isn't Iceland when it's actually like raining?
Well, it's still cold, right? It's still because it's way up there near the Arctic Circle. It was scary because we rented a car that was a Suzuki Jimny. John, you're laughing. Do you know what a Suzuki Jimny is?
It's some Japanese car.
Oh,
Well,
my brother has one.
No, I don't think he does. Because the Suzuki Jimny isn't sold here in the States.
Yeah, it's like.
It is a mix. It's almost like a Jeep and a Mini Cooper had a baby.
But that's not.
It is the smallest 4-wheel drive vehicle you can get. Okay? And it was stick shift. So I'm driving it, right? Standard transmission. And we're going, in Iceland, we're going up and down these cliffs that are gravel, switchback cliffs. I have this a similar watch on that's taking my heart rate from my wrist. While driving, I'm going 150 beats per minute.
Oh, I thought it was.
Is that bad?
What was I
That's like you're working out. Like when you're running, you're around 160.
Hey, what's it called?
The Suzuki Jimny, Jimny.
Wait, Suzuki Gemini?
Yeah,
J.
Imny.
Suzuki Jimny.
or Jimny or something like that.
Oh, Jesus. Oh.
It is tiny, right? And there was one instance, we're coming up onto this one lane tunnel,
Oh, that's so
Okay.
weird.
and you can't see what's coming out. I'm inching closer, a big Mack truck comes out, misses my side view mirror by that much. I inch a little bit closer again, another Mack truck comes out. And what's next to us? A cliff with no guardrail.
That's
Oh,
very
that's
okay.
so
Thank you.
I mean, you're still here.
That was scary, right?
But you're here.
Yeah.
That does
I would
look
have started
weird.
walking up there.
It does
But-
look like a mini cube.
Yeah. So, but the printing press is what led, like, it inspired all these new explorers to go out and explore. Okay? In addition, the technology increased. Okay? What are some ways that technology, how many of y'all have already done the reading?
Boat.
Okay. What are some ways that the technology increased?
Boat.
Well, as John just said, because like the sailors were able
Okay, so there were,
able to make longer.
yeah, there were larger boats.
Journey or
Yeah.
that word.
Yeah, there were larger boats, so the 3-mast sail, the triangular sail helped the boats,
Voyage.
and the stern rudder, so they could steer in the ocean a little bit better. Okay?
Isn't that like the pirate's wheel?
Huh? No, the rudder is just the piece of wood that goes in and flaps.
Ah.
It goes in
Like
the.
that. Okay. Compass. They got a new compass.
Ooh, and
That
this
helps.
is
Okay. As they explore and they bring back information, what does that help them develop? Better what?
boat, astronomy, navigation.
Wait,
When you have ideas about what's out there and you put those ideas onto paper, what do you create?
a map.
A map.
Oh yeah.
Oh, never mind.
You create a map. And so as you explore, you get more information, you draw out better maps. Okay? So you had the rudder, the triangular sail, the compass, better maps, and then to help you navigate, the astrolabe. The astrolabe. It helps you determine your latitude. Okay? Yeah, the sextant was another tool that people used while shipping or while sailing. Okay. All right, we'll pick up here tomorrow because this is slow your roll. Okay. Because we're about to get into what was going on in other parts of the world. Like, just because Europeans are exploring doesn't mean they're the only ones exploring. Okay? So we're going to be looking at the changes that are going on in Africa at the same time. Okay? And one of my favorite African kings, we'll be talking about him. He was the king of, he was the king of Mali.
He was the richest guy ever.
He was. His name is really fun to say. Mansa Musa.
He was also like the richest person to exist.
He was.
Oh, okay.
And he also destroyed economies on his way to Mecca.
That's bad.